Hello, corporate badasses. Hello, everyone. I am so excited to be here again this week as part of my Summer of Magic celebration. So I am Stacy Mayer. I am a promotion strategist and executive coach. So I personally help women get promoted to higher levels of leadership. And I also celebrate women who do the work to get promoted into higher levels of leadership. And if you are a woman who has had this happen to you in your career, you know that it does require deliberate action and intention. But as I always remind you, that's a good thing, because when our career sort of happens by accident, as in you just get promotions, you're not really sure how you create it. When you find yourself in a situation where you get stuck, frustrated, you don't know how to get out of it, you don't have that pathway, that understanding of what it's actually going to take to get you either out of your stuck situation or just to have that voice at the table. So thank you so much for being here with me. Let me give a little bit of an introduction to what the Summer of Magic is, and then we'll get going on my interview today. I'm going to let Kendra do most of the talking, so I have to get all my talking out of the way. So the Summer of Magic was created a couple of years ago. I created it as an intention setting for myself to see if I could get 13 women promoted even while they were on vacation. So as part of the summer of 2022, and then I wanted to celebrate those women publicly. That took off into another goal of mine in 2023 to celebrate 108 promotions. And that took on a life of its own. It was bigger than the work I'm doing one-on-one, person to person. And it really showed me that women are ready and need to be celebrated in this way, that it's important for us to acknowledge the work that we're doing as women to get ourselves into those higher level leadership positions. So I brought it back once again, 432 promotions to celebrate this summer of 2024. If you're watching us live, Diane just said, good morning. If you're here, please say hello as well. You can ask us questions throughout this broadcast for both me and also my guest today. And so let's get started on the interview itself. So Kendra is actually one of my clients. I've known her for a couple of years. She first came in and started working with me as part of my executive ahead of time process. And 1 year I did an award ceremony. She was voted most likely to succeed. I have always loved Kendra. I have loved her ambition and support, but what has been the most exciting is to see her truly step into her power. She's always been a very relational leader, somebody who people like, and I wanted to see her as both somebody who people like and somebody who also people respect. And that is the woman that we have with us today. And thank you so much, Kendra. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, Stacy, thank you for having me. This is really exciting. And yeah, I agree with the last few years we've been working together. So much change has happened. So it's exciting to note these changes.
Yeah, exactly. And to have those milestones too. I think that's part of these celebrations, is to really kind of like, it's not like check boxes, but it's the ability to like put a stamp on it, say, I did that, right? I created something. So why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us who you are. And obviously people should follow Kendra on LinkedIn if you're not already. I welcome that. I'm sure she does as well. But who are you? What do you do?
Hi. Yeah, thank you. Well, my name's Kendra Cross, and I am based out of Wyoming, which I know people don't hear that very often, but I work out of Wyoming, and I work with people all across the country, organizations all across the country, and also here in Wyoming. So mostly I am a political consultant, but I specialize in kind of the back end of organizations and campaigns to help them make sure they stay legal, they know how to raise money and spend money. But also I help with organizing, and that is a really exciting part of the work that I do too. Stacy mentioned that I'm very relational, and I am. I really do love people. And so connecting people, coordinating people, getting people dialed in for some kind of goal that they want to achieve, whether that's a campaign or a fundraising goal or something like that. That's really an exciting part of what I do as well.
Yeah, So good. So since we're talking about magic, as part of the Summer of Magic, I want to start out the conversation with, do you believe in magic? What is magic to you?
Yes, absolutely. I love that you are focusing on the magical element of life, really, because I think, there's our mundane things that we're doing step by step to make life happen and to bring things together and to, fulfill tasks. But there's also this bigger thing that happens, which can be like dreams, being fulfilled, or goals happening, or just those moments of joy that can happen in life. And I consider all of that magic. And I
So
think it's
good.
worth celebrating.
Yeah. And, one of the things that I really love about magic is that it is something that is, in my opinion, created, right? So I sort of like think about the stew, the magical concoction. And when we put ingredients in there, we get a result. And it can feel like right time, right place, or spontaneous, or you're not going to believe. But the number of times that I've heard women tell me, you're not going to believe this, Stacy. And I'm like, yeah, I actually do. Not only do I believe you, but I can tell you, I can show you the formula, how you created that. So sticking on we're going to talk a little bit about your formula, but I just love talking about magic for a little bit longer. So have you had any magical experiences like that in your career, in your life? Any stories that you'd be willing to share?
Absolutely. So the adage, luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity, is what comes to mind.
Mm.
And as you were kind of saying, when all those pieces come together, then all of a sudden, like, something new develops. That's kind of what I've experienced in magic in my personal life and in my work life. I think of specific things such as mentorship, when I've had really incredible mentors that have not only challenged me or opened me up in a certain way, or shown me something about myself or something about an opportunity that really would align with my goals. I think mentorship has been a very big part of what's helped create magic in my life. But also, I think when that luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity, I think when you have some goals and intentions, and then you show up at the right place in the right time, and somebody says something or gives you an idea, and then you can have the conversation with the right person, and then all of a sudden something new can happen. I've experienced that more recently, just in a conversation with some colleagues, who mentioned something. It's like, hey, we don't have this in our state or in Wyoming. And it's like, yeah, well, why don't we have it? And then 3 more conversations, and it's like, hey, maybe we should do this. And so I just really think having those conversations, showing up, being present, talking about what you're thinking about, talking about your goals, and you'll never know what comes together and aligns for you for, this next step in your life.
I actually remember that conversation with you. It was like, it's like I actually felt fireworks as the two of us were talking about the ping pong conversation that happened for you. It's so that's that alive energy of magic, right? That you can sort of feel it. You get into the flow, you get into the rhythm of it, and it's just really, it's palpable, right? And other people can feel it too. So speaking of the formula, I love that adage. I think that's so good, what you shared. And if somebody wants to write it in the comments, I think that's also helpful. I know we have some live viewers here to get some extra participation, but also to share with others. But I wanted to talk about your formula for success. I know you had a couple of transactional elements happen this last year, as in AKA promotions, not just one, but 2 this past year. And when I think about my magical formula, and I have longer podcast episodes that I can also link in the comments after this video that talk about it. And one of the pieces is intention, right? And so you've already mentioned intention, but this like understanding your goal, knowing what you want, and then creating a path to get there, right? It seems so simple. It's like, well, yeah, like, but I think we don't do it, one. And then 2, our intentions are a little murky, right? So what I see in clients is that they'll be like, yeah, I'd love to have a promotion, but they don't understand how to get there. So then therefore they'll just be living in lack, right? Which is, you're setting the intention of like, I don't have this thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Versus like, I have this intention to grow, to do more at this organization, to do more in my industry, right? And then I'm going to create a path forward. So would you mind talking about that piece? Is intention part of your process?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a huge part of the process, and I think it really aligns with visioning, goal setting, intention. They're all kind of similar, but they're like, for me, sometimes my intentions aren't super hard and concrete, but sometimes they are. Sometimes those goals are. It's pay off this debt, or do reach this milestone and get so many clients, or something like that. But I think sometimes the intention can be a little bit more amorphous, and it can be like a feeling. And for me, that's really is what's motivating. And I think of things like, a feeling of like financial freedom, or a feeling of being sovereign. Those are really more motivating to me. And then I can think of the tangible goals, but I think the intention really envelops how I want my day to day to feel. And then I can make decisions every day that align with that. So I can create more of those feelings in my future. And that is my intention when I think of things like that, like a feeling of sovereignty in my life, a feeling of freedom with my time, those kind of things that just, they're a series of micro decisions. And so every day you make those micro decisions that are going to lead up to those goals for your future. So I think just really having those in mind, feeling what it feels like for those next steps of how you want to feel in life, and then making the decisions and the steps to make that happen.
As you were talking, I just had like, my heart felt very full. I was realizing, literally, like, kind of meta in this moment, that these types of conversations I don't feel like are being had in leadership and on LinkedIn. And the fact that we're talking about goal setting, and then she talked about, the feeling of being sovereign, right? Like, I'm just like, oh, and I know what that is. It gives me goosebumps. And some of my work is quantifying the unquantifiable, right? And so we look at energy and magic as being something like outside of ourselves. Like, it'd be great to kind of be in the flow, but you're actually talking about a process, right? You're setting this intention, this clarity. Even when you talk about financial freedom, that is a more energetic feeling rather than like a tangible goal, but yet, when you feel it, when you're in alignment. And I think as women, we do know that, right? We can tell, we can feel that. But to hear the conversation out loud, and to actually hear you name it as like your process, is, I'm just like all giddy inside. I'm like, more, please, more.
Same. It's great. Same. I don't talk about this very much, so I'm glad you're asking these questions, because I think they are a huge part of what drives us, but we don't necessarily name it all the time.
Exactly.
And so it gives it even more power, I think.
Yeah, totally. All right. So to close out our conversation today, which has been magical and brilliant in and of itself, is I'd love to hear from you why you personally feel motivated to have a voice at the table.
That's a great question. I feel like I have developed a very unique perspective on how to work with people, and really make sure that people are heard, maybe make sure that people are happy in what they're doing in their work or in their volunteer life, or whatever that means. And I really feel that that's important to communicate at the table, because our work life is our life. And so as much as we can make our work meaningful, and it can drive our day to day, that is really what I try to bring into the conversation, so that our lives are magical, our work lives are magical, that we actually are enjoying what we're doing, and we have a passion about it. And so that's really, I feel I can bring that perspective, and I do bring that perspective, and I love talking about it. So I encourage others to bring your voices to the table and consider what you have that's unique and special that you can share too.
Thank you. Thank you, Kendra. Oh, yes, please. I am so proud of you, and I want to honor you and your leadership and the work that you're doing. You have so many years ahead of you, too, and the impact that you're going to continue to make on your organization and beyond. I'm super grateful for you and your commitment. And thank you for sharing your wisdom. Thank you to all of our viewers today. If you continue to have questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. Both Kendra and I will take a look at them. And also just say what you enjoyed, what was memorable about today's conversation. Thelma gives a bunch of applause. Even something like that matters because it helps other people find this conversation, which, as if you're witness to it, it is very important and it needs to be heard here on LinkedIn. And also, I'll be doing this every single week. So throughout the summer of magic. So please continue to spread the word, invite your colleagues, invite your friends, and then also share this video. We would very much appreciate it. Thank you, Kendra. I appreciate you, and I hope you have a wonderful week. Bye.
Bye.